can't hear it. That's fine. So, welcome everybody. All right, hello, it's me. So, I'm gonna go ahead and outline the rules here because I think they're pretty important. Okay, so these are the rules. I'm gonna go ahead and read them out. Rules are as follows: uh, market board and player-to-player trade. This game doesn't really do player-to-player trade anyway, but it is possible to trade health potions, consumables, food items, anything like that. I'm just gonna outlaw it. Uh, so every item, equipment, treasure, whatever, anything that can be acquired in the game has to be acquired by myself via looting it from a monster, buying it off of a vendor, or crafting it myself. Grouping any party play is forbidden in all instances except for mainly two areas. One is world bosses because people are going to show up to world bosses no matter what. There's nothing I can do to stop them from doing that. And then that's kind of the exception, another exception for Rule 4, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then forced or required party play. This is stuff like Black Shrine bosses, Altar of Blood, which are the two PvE, like, raid or dungeon encounters you want to call them. There are more dungeons, but those aren't relevant. They haven't been relevant for quite a while, unfortunately, so there's kind of no point in me doing them. Other ones are Red Battlefield and Arena of Solar. In the event that I decide to do PvP, I don't want to just have to go out into the open world and PvP because, frankly, that doesn't really exist in this game anymore either. All of my gameplay, save for world bosses, because world bosses do not spawn on Arsha, as far as I can tell. I may be wrong. If I am wrong, then I'm gonna, we'll make an addendum to it, and then I will restrict myself to have it. All other gameplay, save for world bosses, must be on the Arsha server. I'm doing this just because I think it's a little bit more fun. Just kind of like PvP where I can. Just makes it a little bit more interesting. I fully expect and understand that I will be stream sniped at some point by people that are like 800 gear score plus. I don't care. I'm not losing anything. Whatever. And then, if anything, a lot of the time, free teleport back to town. Cool. I don't have to, until I get my treasure map, there's kind of very, very limited ways for me to get back into town very fast. So, cool. Season, Olvi Academy, Heidel, Calpheon Ball rewards, all of those things, any sort of coupon codes or anything like that, are off limits to me. This is painful to watch, but like all of the pen black stars and like the horses and the armor, the costumes, all of that stuff, I'm not going to use at all. It's painful to look at it just like kind of go away, but that's what I have my main account for. Guilds, I really wrestled with this one quite a bit on whether I wanted to do guilds or not. I ended up electing to do guild because I would like to remain sane in the couple times that I, play either off stream or I'm like recording B-roll. And so in the event that I'm doing that or like recording, footage or anything like that, sometimes I'd like to be able to chat with a guild. It just keeps me sane. This is, despite everything that the developers have intended, this is still an MMO, which means that player-to-player interaction is encouraged to an extent, effectively in the realm of server chat shitposting and guild chat. My restriction with guilds is I'm only going to be allowed to join a guild after I hit level 62. I personally feel that that's a fair amount of time of grinding and playing the game truly solo, that by the time I reach level 62, I am at a point in the game where the minuscule stat buffs that you get from guilds, which there are some, the minuscule stat buffs that you get are largely irrelevant to the progression of my character. I am only allowed one character. I thought about having a character in a tag or like a alts to like put in town, but I feel like that kind of, I don't know. I didn't really like the idea of that, so I'm just going to restrict myself to one character. That way I can just have everything on one character, and that character is the only thing that is gaining progression. This game heavily values alts and alternate characters and having like a whole army of characters, mainly for the energy system. I'm just not going to interact with that. I think it makes it a little bit more difficult, a little bit more grindy, but you can tangibly see the progress and the amount of time that I'm going to be spending on one character anyway. I feel like energy after a certain point won't really be an issue. So, footnotes and exceptions. You saw up in Rule 2 that vendors are highlighted or asterisked or whatever you want to say. Vendors, I'm defining them as NPCs in the game that sell items, equipment, or consumables, specifically in-game. This is not a Twitch drop thing, no like off-game thing like a website or anything like that. Mostly this is related to Cronstones because Cronstones are very pivotal in a challenge like this, because that's realistically the only way that you'll be able to make progression. And then in-game event item shops. This is stuff like the summer event, where usually it's like you'll grind mobs for these stones, you enhance something, you turn it in, and they give you like a pet or a cosmetic item, or you get like 500 cron stones for grinding 1,000 mobs, like stuff like that. Like that is in game, something I have to work for and attain myself in order to get that reward. I am counting that as acquired by myself and something that is legal in the rules. Exceptions as a whole are case by case dependent, depending on how difficult and realistic it is to obtain certain items or quest requirements, or if there's like something that requires me to group up with party members or trade somebody. From my research, I don't think that this is even something that happens in BDO anymore. But I want to have it there just in case. That way, if it ever does arise, like, the challenge basically isn't dead. There are two real exceptions, and they're both related to gear progression very late into the challenge. The first one is Vel's Heart. Vel is a world boss that spawns in the ocean on Wednesday and Sunday, I believe, at 2 p.m. on Sunday and I believe 5 p.m. on Wednesday. I cannot realistically make these. I can't attend. I just, my life does not allow for that. Therefore, once I craft, the exception is after I hand make a splendid alchemy stone of destruction. This is an item that is one stage off of the final upgrade of the specific gear slot. Once I create that, I will then be able to buy one Vel's Heart off the market board and mix it with my alchemy stone. That way I can have a Vel's Heart without needing to effectively take time off to farm Vel every week. The second one is Garmoth's Heart. It's the exact same thing as Vel. Garmoth does spawn a lot more regularly. However, reliably, I cannot make this. I have other projects that I need to do. I have other things that I need to do. I am not able to make Garmoth consistently. So I am opting to instead allow myself to purchase one off the market board only after I hand make and enhance a Pen Black Star weapon. After that, I need to make another Garmoth's Heart, or I need to make another Pen Black Star weapon to then be able to get another Garmoth's Heart. As far as what I have done in game, so I'm going to put these rules down now. What I have done in game so far, absolutely nothing. I have a new account. I set up the username that it wanted you to set up. And now we are on the start screen. So all that I'm doing while I'm talking to my chat here is explaining the difference between the Mountain of Eternal Winter, the Ancient Stone Chamber, and the Land of Morning Light. While the Mountain of Eternal Winter offers a very powerful accessory, I'm opting to go for the Ancient Stone Chamber simply because of the volume of quests and the amount of contribution experience that I'm going to be gaining from doing these quests. I usually try to advise against Land in the Morning Light simply because it doesn't offer anything realistically relevant towards the progression of the character, and you're trapped in Land in the Morning Light until you're about level 56 or 57. And then lastly, I'm choosing the Ancient Stone Chamber simply because it puts me in the mainland, which is where I can find the largest amount of vendors that will offer me gear, weapons, and any sort of enhancing materials or consumables. More cutscenes, yeah. The cutscene where you're like looking over Velia Beach and it like shows all the AFK fishers, like that's still unskippable. Which is weird, I feel like it should be. But oh well. Okay, so this is a very, very important decision to make here. And unfortunately, in the respect of our character today, there is no decision. I have to do the regular main quest because the simplified main quest does not give you the quest pet rewards. So while I let this footage play through a little bit, I'm going to explain further why the simplified quest is not a good idea for a new account, especially an Iron Man or a solo self-found account. Generally speaking, when you are free to play or some form of snowflake account like myself, your biggest bottleneck in the game is loot and how much of it you acquire in the game as time goes on. One of the best means to deal with all of this loot is unfortunately tucked away inside of the real main quest, pets. Pets are things in Black Desert that automatically pick up loot for you and add it to your inventory, and the main quest line, amongst other strong rewards for account progression, gives you 4 right off the bat to work with, effectively letting you actually collect loot. Now that we've learned about pets, the other reward from the main quest line is contribution XP. This is a currency that allows you to acquire nodes and place workers in them to gather items for you while you're out in the world exploring. This will be relevant much later on in our progression, but jumping in on it early gives us the ability to start stockpiling loot for later use. And the last thing I want to cover here is gear. The simplified quests give you a set of gear that I have personally banned as part of my challenge, and will miss out on key upgrades and items should I take that path. Hey, my first pet. There he is. The dog. We're gonna name him Kringle. I don't know. He feels like a Kringle to me. Okay, so defeat Giath. Okay. I don't want combat assistance on. There we go. I think that's what was doing it. It was auto-targeting. Inventory, gift. Get rid of this. God, dude. That was insane. There was just like a minute straight almost of him just like up in the air or like teleporting around. Holy mackerel, dude. Okay. The breaker of chains, huh? So... okay, let's register his horse. It's just gonna be named Hans. So coming up here is an issue I kind of have with the new main story going through it again after a decade. It constantly asks you if you want to instead skip the story and do the simplified quest, but doesn't explain what you get from either or. I feel like Pearl Abyss should list out the benefits of each before you make your choice and only add the ability to choose simplified from a specific NPC in a Heidel or Calpheon. This is way too early and frequent and might make new players worry they chose the wrong path. I ended up electing to get to Heidel proper, fished around for some equipment here, and then logged out for now. This first video was more of an introduction into the series with a lot of jump cuts and information spewing around. I'll be focusing more on a highlight reel-esque editing style for subsequent episodes, but I urge you to either tune in on Twitch, or you can check out the VODs, which I will make available, albeit at sometimes cursed audio level due to YouTube's strict policy on copyrighted music. I'm a one-man show here, and it's fairly difficult on my PC to record without audio and stream and play a game at the same time. Depending on my channel's growth, this is subject to change, and in the meantime, I would really appreciate it if you like the video and hit the subscribe button, as it really helps me out and lets me know that what I'm doing is entertaining and enjoyable to watch. Thank you all, and have a very safe rest of your day.